Welcome to the September 15th, 2020 episode of Reactive Consciousness, our in-depth podcast about what happened this week in our lives. I stumbled, but I'm okay. I'm your host, vysethebold, and this is...
Lotus Prince.
And I just slipped. I toddled. But everything's okay. It's all right. Faithful listeners.
Everything is good.
I'm sorry for the people who will inevitably cancel their Corrective Consciousness.
Are you some kind of some toddler? Is this unbelievable?
And you're some kind of teetotaler. But no, sorry about the mix-up, the mess-up. What could possibly go wrong? But we actually have a lot of really interesting news this week. Some bummer stuff, some major bummer stuff this week, but also some surprising and fun stuff as well. So we'll get it off from the top here. A lot of the big news came from a leak in the middle of the night of what may have been Xbox One's new, previously unconfirmed system leaking out and the pricing of it. And that is the Xbox One Series S. So that is not to be mistaken with Xbox One S. No, this is the Xbox One Series X.
I mean, this is the easiest thing in the world. I don't know about you.
But
there's the S, there's the Series S, there's the X. It's easy.
What they confirmed is, so instead of just denying it or ignoring the leak, Xbox actually just went ahead and did an official announcement.
Did you see the response to the fact that a leak had happened?
They put the cartoon eyes, the emoji eyes, oh shit.
But they also did that meme that's been going around for a while for that little monkey-looking puppet thing from the children's show that gives you the side eye,
the side eye thing. Yeah,
that was pretty good.
It's kind of great. I know that leak was not an official thing because why would they do it at 2 a.m.? No. It makes no sense, but they handled it with spades. Let's just say that somebody from the social media team acted quickly and got permission to be okay,
that's about as good as you can get.
It.
You're not going to cover for this, so that's as good as it's going to get.
So not only that, but Xbox ended the Cold War that they have going on with PlayStation with pricing.
Yeah, because that's been pissing me off because with Sony, you can pre-order the PS5 in some places now, and you still don't know what the fucking costs.
Yeah, and you don't know what the difference of pricing is in the two different models. And
so somebody's got to say something at some point. So I'm glad somebody finally did. Let's just end this pissing contest, please. So what they confirmed is that the Xbox One Series S will be at $299.99, which is an extremely affordable price for a new Xbox system. That's
console.
Insane. I haven't seen prices that low since the Switch, but Nintendo their consoles always cost less than the others because the others are they try to be as modern as they can in terms of graphics and processor, and the Switch is quite good, but we're talking Wii versus HD systems, we're talking Switch versus 1080p 60 frames per second and 4K capability. So of course Nintendo's going to be cheaper. So for a new Xbox system to be $300, I did not see that coming at all.
Yeah. So not only is it not is it going to be cheaper, but it's also going to have different specs. So as far as we know, the PS5 the variation on the lower cost one is just going to be without a disk drive. And so there's no other spec difference. It's
right. This is not a PS4 and PS4 Pro situation.
Yeah. This one is actually a pared down version of the console, but they confirmed it will play everything that Xbox One plays and the Xbox Series games will play.
Yeah, and I see this as I see this as a convenience because on one hand it's well, why wouldn't you just get the better system? But then I remember how I live. Like, I don't even have a 4K TV, so why should I get a system? You can play all the latest 4K games. Like, well, I can't see them in 4K anyway, so whatever.
Well, this is great. This has potential to be a really good stopgap for people that can't afford the they could also confirm that the Series X will be $499.99, which is what everybody expected, and not. It could be worse. I mean,
it's still less than a PS3, right? $599 US.
I half expected it to be like $550. And at 600 is like right out. I wouldn't expect any system to release at 600 ever again.
Yeah, with how hard that was memed, I think that's going to be a while.
Yeah, but 500 is a reasonable thing for a high-powered system, to be honest. Like, with what the Xbox Series X will be able to do, it's like brand new stuff. So, this will be digital only. However, it has the ability to play anything Xbox One and Series compatible. So, I mean, that's amazing. I mean, that's a great entry point for anybody trying to get into the new series of systems. And also, it's really great because they have a gigantic library of games that you could already access.
Yeah, like bringing back the subject of Nintendo, it makes me think of the Switch with the current gen systems. Like, it can play just about anything the PS4 and Xbox One can. Not maybe to the same presentation that they have, but you knew that going in.
I'm actually really really happy with this announcement, because this is why you want competition. Like, this is the kind of out of the box thinking. They were like, well, there are some people who don't care about the highest and greatest graphic levels. Some people just want to play the games. So, I mean, it'll still have ray tracing support, which is like the big innovation. It will still have SSD storage, which is another thing. It still has Dolby Vision and all the other fun stuff. It just doesn't have. It still has gaming up to 120 frames per second. So, what more could you want? I think it's still 4K as well.
You know what the ultimate FPS is? I don't remember the actual number, but like Wolfenstein 3D, I think was capable of like supremely high FPS because it's such a simple game.
It's that John Carmack shit.
Yeah.
But this is really neat. I think it's a really big win for Microsoft to come out like that very favorably. They still don't have the exclusive that they need in order to cinch certain things, but I think this is really great, especially as an alternative to a gaming PC, which is basically unreasonable. I mean, the big heavy duty graphics card. It's like in the 3000 line now, the NVIDIA 3000 line that everybody wants right now. I think is over $1,000. Just for that, not to mention like a processor and whatever else you needed. If you were going to build it from scratch, it'd be even more.
Yeah.
So I mean, I have all kinds of things already in my house, but it would still cost me over $1,000 to upgrade.
Yes.
So I would much rather get the Xbox Series X than upgrade my PC at this point, because Microsoft is showing they know where this is going.
Yes.
Or they're taking control of it, which is pretty awesome. And they aren't abandoning their PC players too. Like, almost all their games are going to be released on PC as well, which is a platform that they control anyway. So,
well, yeah, I mean, when all the Steam revenue comes your way, like, aside from what Valve gets, sounds good to me. Like, why would you not keep doing that?
Yeah, and they also announced right along with it that their Game Pass is getting even better by including EA Play, which is EA's service. Basically any game that EA has in their back catalog that is compatible with all this stuff is going to be playable on these new systems. And
NBA Hang Time on N64?
No. NBA Hang Time was a Midway game. Get it right or pay the
price.
price.
Son of a bitch. Right.
That would be a WB game at this point.
Skitchin?
Yes, that's an EA game.
Yes,
no, but no, I'm talking about like if you were an EA like subscriber, they give you access to all their brand new games plus like everything else that's come out in basically the last generation or so. So it's included in Ultimate Game Pass for no extra cost. And you can even get like an Ultimate Game Pass that gives you like PC and like Xbox like support. So like you could play all, like all those EA games on your PC or on your Xbox. So this is like really great news. I think it's a really shrewd move, especially considering that like EA has some of the biggest multiplayer games coming out. I mean, the Battlefield franchise and all the Star Wars stuff. So
not to mention the sports stuff like FIFA.
Oh, sure. FIFA's huge in Europe.
FIFA's probably one of its biggest things.
FIFA's even getting popular in the United States. So
I think I mentioned this on the cast, but I tutor middle school and high school students during the school year. I mean, I've had them bring up FIFA. Like it's it's huge.
Yeah. I would expect soccer to become like a big thing in the United States certainly within the next 10 years or so. But anyway, like the video games are like some of the best that they make. So I like once again I think that this was a huge deal. So of course Sony goes ahead and announces that they will have an announcement sometime this week, probably tomorrow. I think is when it's happening as of the release date of this recording. So it's supposed to happen on the 16th.
It's going to be the PlayStation 1 like gotcha grab, like $450, and that's the whole panel.
I can't imagine that their digital version of their PS4 will be anything less than $400. I think they will be $400. So I think it'll be $100 savings because it has all this same other specs. It just can't play discs and UHD Blu-rays. So and
UMDs.
And I think they'll match that $499 price point for the disc-based one. I can't imagine that they wouldn't. Or if they go for $350 on that or $450 on that, I mean I can't imagine them doing that, but they could. It depends on how badly they want it and how much they can afford.
Yeah, like again, you never know. Like the PS3 did recover, but that launch was rocky.
Yeah, so who knows? But I think that Microsoft is being really shrewd and I'm actually like in favor of their business practices for this new generation. I'll also mention I was going to mention this later in the show, but there is a rumor going around that and take it with a grain of salt, as with everything. But they're thinking that at the PS5 event that they may announce the next Final Fantasy game or 16.
This time it's all about riding in a boat with your boys.
Take that with a grain of salt, and also please try to remember how long it takes for a Final Fantasy game to fucking come out, even after it's announced.
Yeah, I refuse to believe. Like, I know that they're not working on one game and then another game. Like, they only just started working on 7 after 15. But yeah, but still...
7 is after 15.
No, but not even that. Like, nobody should ever expect them to produce Final Fantasy games like every year or even every 2 years, like it's Assassin's Creed or something. Like, it doesn't work like that.
15 was a huge project, and so was the 7 remake. Despite it being,
I mean, 7 became like the Duke Nukem Forever of Final Fantasy for a while.
I mean, it turned out well, so thankfully.
Yeah, unlike Duke Nukem Forever.
Yeah. I mean, it's just one of those things. But I just wanted to mention that real quick. I mean, I think the big Square Enix guy. Said that he was looking forward to the event and then deleted that tweet. So,
gotcha. He's not looking forward to the event.
No,
confirmed.
He's trying to tease with people. So that's pretty cool. So, either way, I'm always excited when these things come out. I mean, Xbox just needs to get some good exclusives, and I can justify like buying it right away. It's one of those things. But we'll get there. We should move on to our next topic because this is a big one. Usually we try to do television stuff towards the end of the podcast, but this is a big deal. So we last week we discussed the possibility that there was a rumor going around, a well-substantiated rumor from somebody close to the source, that Venture Brothers may have been canceled, which is I believe, the longest-running Adult Swim show.
It's been a while, yeah.
I think it is, because Aqua Teen got canceled a while ago. So, but yeah, Venture Brothers, I think, is 15 years old. Well, Robot Chicken might be older. But anyway, one of its oldest shows and most beloved shows has been confirmed canceled by the creators of the show and Adult Swim.
And this is after having had an 8th season greenlit, and they were actively working on it.
Yeah, they were writing the scripts for season 8, and it got canceled.
And what really sucks is that season 7 ends on
huge cliffhanger.
Kind of a like, I don't know if I'd call it a cliffhanger. Like, how are our heroes going to get out of this one? But there's definitely it's clearly leading to something. Like, a character gets a revelation of this big knowledge bomb. And literally, the last line in that season is, "Are you fucking kidding me?" And now the show's over. So that sucks.
Yeah, and then Adult Swim released a tweet basically saying, "We're disappointed too. We're looking for options for them." And people are just replying "Fuck you! You could just greenlight them."
But they did greenlight them.
So the word on the street is that they were canceled by somebody higher up.
I'd heard as just a possibility, not a confirmation, that maybe it was because AT&T had been buying up every property it possibly could, and then they were like, oh wait, we spent all of our fucking money, so now they're trying to cut the fat, so to speak, including this.
Yeah, and that's a big shame. So I wouldn't say that I think that this is totally dead. I mean, there are plenty of shows that have been revived after a very shocking cancellation.
Yeah, fucking Sesame Street.
Well, that
wasn't exactly a cancellation.
They moved that on their own accord. That has nothing to do with it. I mean more like Toka and Birdie got picked up by Adult Swim when Netflix dropped it. Tuca and Birdie, I'm sorry. There are plenty of shows that have been ever
Netflix
since Family Guy came back
Netflix
from the dead once upon a time.
Yep.
A whole bunch of shows have come back from the dead, and especially cartoon shows are easily do that because they don't the talent involved doesn't matter whether they look the same or not, or even and the voice cast has to be involved a lot less than filming a show, so they can fit it in between other engagements. So I would say that this is prime for Netflix, Hulu, or Amazon Prime, as it were, to pick them up. Or maybe even Apple, who's trying to get footing, or HBO,
or maybe Quibi.
I don't think it'll be HBO Max because they're part of the same group. If HBO Max picks them up, that would be hilarious. Because it's just one hand of the company a different hand of the company.
It's inane, but
that's a Warner Brothers service. But but I'm just saying I don't think they're. And there's always the possibility if they can't even get that done that they might be able to do a comic book to wrap things up,
like with Buffy.
Buffy and Angel did that. I think Firefly did that as well.
And I think there were expansions to the Legend of Korra.
Yeah, no, the comic book continuation thing is a good idea to some degree. I mean, you're not gonna part of what makes Venture Brothers so funny is the voices. So
yeah.
I don't know whether I would like it in the same way. It would be nice to get the truth bombs and all that kind of stuff. But the way that show is paced,
the villain's voice is really
funny funny aspects of that show.
Yeah, the villains' voices and the Venture Brothers themselves, like
Dr. Girlfriend.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Rusty is like a hilarious voice.
Rusty's got an amazing flat delivery, but like just Hank and Dean just have goofy voices.
And Rusty needs a new mommy. But
jab, body blow. Freaking died.
This is a show that I admittedly haven't not watched the last few seasons because I fell off, and getting back onto the show is nigh impossible. Considering the after credit scene of every show like drops some kind of crazy bullshit like that changes everything. Like you could just watch the final the post credit scene for every episode and keep it up, I guess. But the show part of what makes it funny is how the status quo continuously changes. Which is pretty cool. But I do need to catch back up, but I would have more motivation if I knew a new season was getting announced. So heart goes out to the guys who were making the show because like according to them, they only had 2 seasons left before they wanted to wrap things up and artistically.
Yeah, that show really went places too. Like it opened up a whole universe. It's like John Wick. The first movie's like revenge against bad guys, and then 2 and 3, there's like a whole world out there.
It starts off as a Johnny Quest parody, and then it's literally part of the Johnny Quest universe later on.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Which is like. You think that they're just making fun of it and it's a pastiche, but then Race Bannon shows up, like actual Race Bannon,
and then Johnny Quest shows up.
And then Johnny Quest. Yeah, so that's the coolest thing about what happened.
I like the thing with I don't know if it's from the Johnny Quest intro credits or what, but the giant walking tripod robot eye. At one point, they just like addressed that directly in the Venture Brothers. Like, why do you have this? It's like, it's cool. It's a robot eye. It's got legs. It walks around. It's like, and that's just the end of that.
The nozzle.
You do not get too close to
the
nozzle. What the hell was that?
Yeah, it's just a nozzle that has lots of warnings about it. But
it sure does.
Major Tom was like one of the best like early episodes. I love that episode where like the ghost of Major Tom like falls to earth.
Oh jeez.
And he's just a screaming ghost, and they're like, we have to do away with you because you're just screaming. It's just no Blackulus. Yep, no Blackulus.
Yeah, are there any Blackulus around? Nope. No Blackulus. I don't even know why you brought me here. There's no Blackulus on this mission.
It's a great show, and it's
which, by the way, implies that somewhere in the Venture Brothers universe, Blackulas are walking around, and we just never see them.
Or they were all exterminated at some point.
That could be, but there are or were Blackulas that had to be hunted down by a not Blade character.
That can only sense like Blackulas.
Yeah, again, it's like, why am I here? Like, maybe I'll use my powers to sense if there are any Blackulas around. Nope. No Blackulas. Wasting my fucking time.
I love it. The Monarch is one of the best characters in fiction.
Listen to his voice in like episode 1, and then listen to him now. Like he really like developed, because in the early episodes, it was like early Pokemon, where it's like, it looks like it is time for Team Rocket to blast off, and then later James got his like ooh kind of voice. It was like that with the Monarch, like, Dr. Venture, I'm here to stop your plans, and he became like the really exaggerated, like I will stop. Like he really went into that later.
I love that they took what was seemingly 2 just generic henchmen and made them actual characters.
And same goes for Brock. He was just a big burly bodyguard guy, and he's got a whole thing to do.
Oh, and he has a really complicated backstory and all that stuff too. It's a great show, and it's a lot of fun, and it's very funny, and it's captivating. It's everything that's great. I mean, the biggest problem with it was that it took like 2 to 3 years.
It's forever between seasons. Yeah.
Basically, whenever they got it done is when they would release a season.
Yeah. And to their credit, like when they did get it done, it was very, very good.
Yeah. It was always a fully formed well-made thing, but I would suspect that higher-ups wouldn't understand such a thing.
Yeah, we gotta have it out by such and such time, and like take hits on the quality.
Yeah, no, they weren't all about that. So I'm sure, like Adult Swim was actually sad about it. Like all these people are dunking on them, but they probably had no say in it. Is probably the consensus that I'm coming up with. But anyway, moving on from that, some good news, and maybe not entirely surprising based off of like all of the hinting that's been going on, but
with like Anamanaguchi and stuff like that.
Yeah, Scott Pilgrim, the video game, is now being released and ported on all major platforms, including Stadia.
I think with DLC.
Yeah, it's a complete package, so it will have online multiplayer as well, per the second DLC. So and it will have all they'll have like the extra characters. You'll have Wallace and Knives and was it Nega Scott or whatever. So
I think so. I mean, I can't really say because I only played the game for like 15 minutes.
Yeah, this game was famously only on console first of all, so you couldn't even get it on PC.
That's true. Yeah. That's why it's so sought after. It's like if you didn't buy it back then, it's gone. It's like the X-Men arcade game on PS3 and 360. You had your chance, and now it's gone forever.
Yeah, it was never physical. It was only on PS3 and 360, and I think famously the second DLC was only out for a year before like the entire game was wiped off
Oof.
of. So like there were two problems here. Not only could you not purchase the game, but you also couldn't purchase the DLC. If you already owned the game post the Armageddon, as it were. So this is a really great game. This is probably the first game to really take the torch from River City Ransom and make a game in the style of that. Again, it has item shops and everything. Probably some of the best video game music I've ever heard in my life.
And the sprite work and animation is incredible.
Yeah, Paul Robertson is like a top-notch pixel artist. Definitely go onto his YouTube page and watch the shit that he puts out. In fact, he's done Adult Swim bumps and all kinds of stuff. He's extremely talented. So it was this amalgamation, this coming of this meeting of the minds where all these really cool stuff came together. You had a cool band, an awesome game of an awesome property. From an awesome author, all came together to promote an awesome movie, and unfortunately, it got scrapped. So this will be available on pretty much everything: Switch, PS4, Xbox One, Stadia, Steam. I think that it's basically everything. So everybody's really excited, and Limited Run is doing everything they can in order to get
no kidding. This has been the big Limited Run request for years and years, just like System Shock 2 was the big GOG request for years and years.
Yeah.
Like, this is the one. Like, everybody wants you to do this one.
So hopefully they can secure the rights in order to do a limited run release.
And at this point, Limited Run is big enough that like it at least has a shot at it. It's gotten some high profile stuff.
Oh yeah, no, it's good stuff. If anybody has the leeway to do that, it's them. And this was announced at the Ubiforward event, Ubisoft's online event. Where they also announced Lotus, a complete remake of the original Prince of Persia: Sands of Time, which is...
That's a quality game. The combat was jank,
exciting.
But a remake might help with that. But that's probably still my favorite of the trilogy, even though The Warrior Within plays much better, although it has too much combat. The third one was really damn good, yes, it was.
I really like the third one.
And it had two endings.
Yeah, the second one's the weakest, but it's not really that weak. It's the style that's the problem.
Yeah, way too much emphasis on combat and way too much like
Grimdark.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for. Yeah, like edgy, dark now. Even though
it was very Slipknotty,
same characters in the previous
all
game.
of a sudden.
Did you ever play the Wii game? Because I never did.
Which one? There's several.
It was something. The third game.
The third game has
is called
Wii,
Two Thrones, but the Wii one's called something similar.
The Wii one has a unique version of the third game. And I've never played it. But it has motion controls and stuff like that. So I've never ventured to try, but I heard it was good.
Yeah, I've only played the regular trilogy, and I quite liked it. The first Prince of Persia, like the Sands of Time, well, the first one, you know what I mean? The first of this trilogy, it was Uncharted before Uncharted. Like, where you're climbing on buildings, and, like, it's doing the big zoom out to show you the scale of where you are. Like, that was crazy for the time.
I mean, without this game, you wouldn't have the Assassin's Creed franchise, which is one of the biggest franchises that we have. I mean, this series, even though it was a cult favorite, it was not a huge hit. It was insanely influential on how action games are played right now.
You know what I also liked? I forgot if I've mentioned this in the podcast before. I may have. But the idea that, at least for the first game, this is not true for the second and third, I don't think, but for the first game, the game's already over. Like, you're meeting a person right before the final boss happens, and you're telling this person about everything you did. So, like, 95% of the game is a flashback, technically, and it's not a twist. It's established this way. But what's great is that when you die, like, over the game over screen, you'll hear things like, "No, that didn't happen," and it's a creative little decision. But what just amuses me about that is how you would fuck that up in the telling. Like, and then I ran along the wall, and then I slipped, and then I fell on the spikes and died. Wait, no. What was I thinking? No, that's not what happened. It's like, what?
What I also like that is it kind of has the motif, like a similar motif of, like, the Scheherazade story, like,
except that you're telling Scheherazade, and that's she's not actually Scheherazade, but
like, what I mean is it's taking the motif of the storytelling aspect of something that has a similar theme. So, but I love this series. I love all three games. Also, they confirmed you will be able to play the original Prince of Persia.
I was wondering about that.
They haven't confirmed whether you could play Prince of Persia 2, which was on the Xbox version.
And the first one, that first game, it's stupid hard, but its presentation was ahead of its time. All the character animations are rotoscoped, so, like, it looks like a real person running and jumping, because it kind of is.
Yeah, this was before he ended up making, was it Out of This World before that?
Oh, that was that person?
Yeah, same guy. Yeah.
I guess that makes sense.
Yeah. No, this is like the rotoscoping stuff going on. But yeah, he made Karateka before that. So the Karateka kind of looks like that.
That, yeah. I've actually seen gameplay of that relatively recently. That's another game it just looks like a pain in the ass, but again, it looks gorgeous.
You would think that it was called Karateka, and you'd be right, but
I did think it was
conceived as Karateka. So, yeah.
Sure.
But anyway, awesome series, and I expect this to be great. Not a word was spoken about Beyond Good and Evil. Goddamn.
Yeah, of course not. Remember that time they had gameplay footage in, like, the PS3 360 era? And I remember, like, 2 years ago when they had nothing but a movie cutscene and everybody got hyped, even though that's literally zero gameplay footage. Cool.
Yeah,
all right.
And we found out the new version of the game was going to be a prequel. I don't want a prequel. I want to see.
Yeah, like, the game ends on a kind of cliffhanger, or at least a tease.
Yeah, exactly. That's a shame. That's a game from the same era and the same company as Prince of Persia: Sands of Time, and that didn't do well. You know what their big problem back then was? It dawned on me. They released like 5 games at once, and then they were surprised when none of them sold. It was all in the holiday season, for that era for PS2, and they wonder why they didn't sell. Like they had competition from their own companies and themselves. They cannibalized their own market.
Yeah.
Like all those games came out at once. It's
and Beyond Good and Evil is so good.
All of those games from that era,
that game holds up.
Ubisoft are all good. moving on from that, we also have Crysis Remastered was announced as well.
Yeah, one thing I wanted to mention about it, like this is the main reason I put it on the list because it's just
this is not a Ubisoft game, by the way. This
is not Ubisoft, but the main reason I put this on the list of discussions is there's just one thing that just greatly amused me. Maybe you've heard about this, Vice, but the company that made Crysis, retweeted for the Crysis. I'm sorry?
Crytek.
Yeah,
they made the original Far Cry and Far Cry 2, I think.
There you go. Yeah. They tweeted out, and I don't know if it's a joke or not, but I could believe it if it's real. But they tweeted out that in the graphics settings for the remaster, the highest setting is called "Can it run Crysis?"
That's amazing.
Like, that's great.
That's amazing. So, for the uninitiated, Crysis was once the benchmark game. If you could play it and play it well, you had a good
you had a high tier PC. Yeah, even Crysis 2, I think, was at lower settings because it was designed for consoles as well.
Yeah, no, it was designed specifically to work with anything at the time, whereas Crysis 1 was not. In fact, it took a really long time for them to come out with a console port of Crysis 1, way after Crysis 2, in fact.
Yeah.
But
I actually keep forgetting that they ever did do a console port of Crysis 1.
They did. It came out for 360 and PS3, I think.
Yeah.
But it is a physics showcase. Goddamn, like, it's so much fun to watch people dig around in that game because the things you can do with that power suit and all of the physics items and grabbing people and throwing them and barrels exploding everywhere. It's just so much fun. I've even seen I think there's some kind of like design mode where you can like do whatever you want, and they just had a pyramid of exploding barrels.
Of course, it's like Minecraft where you just spawn dynamite after dynamite after dynamite until you blow it up and like crash your game.
Yeah, no, cool stuff. And moving on from that, we had another surprise announcement. Nintendo just like keeps releasing stuff after stuff.
They're really just killing it lately.
After like radio silence for a long time, they're just bam, 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 every week something. And this is a pretty big deal. So they announced Legend of Zelda: Hyrule Warriors: Age of Calamity. So what this is of course it is the second Zelda Muso game. We had Hyrule Warriors, just regular Hyrule Warriors before, and then the upgraded version for the Switch, right?
But like 3DS then Switch.
Yeah. But the Switch one's the best version of that one. Anyway.
Yeah, it has all the content, and the game actually fucking runs.
Yeah. So they announced this, and not only that, but it is like a straight up like canon entry in the series.
It's a prequel to Breath of the Wild, I believe.
Yeah, it is supposed to tell the story of how everybody fucking dies.
Yeah, and I'm actually very interested in that because Breath of the Wild, the whole point is like it's like Horizon Zero Dawn. Everything's dead. The villain already won. So like, there are games where like you don't really need to see how that happened. But like, if I'm gonna get an opportunity to see it, that must have been like it's like Dark Souls. Yeah. Could I actually watch the fight between the gods and the dragons? That'd be a whole different game. So like this Hyrule Warriors game looks like it's going to be that. So people are saying it's going to be like the Halo Reach of Zelda.
Oh, I absolutely love Breath of the Wild, and I also love its story and its characterization. You have like Zelda is a fully fledged character. She's no longer a damsel in distress. She is a broken person who is struggling with her failure, and
she shows up in the game more than twice, and that's very rare.
She just waits for you
beginning of the game, or at least first time you meet her, and then at the very end when you save her. I suppose in Zelda 2 you could see her all the time. There's just no fucking point. She's asleep. That's the whole point.
And she's a different Zelda than the one you rescued before. Look it up, folks.
Well, she's a different Zelda in like every game except for like
the
couple that connect, like Phantom Hourglass Spirit Tracks.
No, Zelda 2 happens to the same Link as Zelda 1.
Oh,
but the Zelda is a different Zelda.
That's bizarre. What are the odds? They're both named Zelda.
Well, it's supposed to be like Zelda's ancestor, who had been, in that forever slumber.
That's out there.
Yeah, no, it's one of those things like, is that can't be right? And then you look back at it and you're like, oh, that is right. It is. She is a different Zelda. She is not the Zelda that you know.
I just thought she looked different because it's a side view game.
Nope. But Zelda as a character has been getting like progressively like ever since I would say Wind Waker.
I would say Ocarina of Time, but
yeah, that's true.
I mean, when Zelda actually shows up, like literally in her speech, she just gets captured from someone off screen. It's just like she's just captured by magic when nobody's around. That was some bullshit. The moment she unmasks, it's like, captured you. But she at least had more to do in her other persona. But Wind Waker, yeah, that was more of a character as Zelda herself.
Yeah, and she was even better in Skyward Sword, if you ask me. I liked.
Yeah, she felt more real in Skyward Sword.
Yeah, she was more of a damsel again because Midna kind of took over as your like spunky female character in Twilight Princess. But
yeah, Twilight Princess, she's like almost not even in the game, and even in Wind Waker, it's got the Ocarina of Time problem where it's like, guess what? You're actually Zelda. Boom, pink dress, and then she has like nothing to do.
Yeah. Yeah, but she had a really distinct personality at least. So
yes.
Distinct from her ancestors and descendants.
And then, God forbid, in Hyrule Warriors, I mean, the whole point of the Warriors games is you can play as everyone you know. Yeah. Wouldn't it be cool if I could play as Big Mom from One Piece? Because you fucking can now. So you could play as Zelda in Hyrule Warriors.
You can play as Linkle.
Yeah, that blows my mind. But like, I didn't realize this at the time because I hadn't looked at Hyrule Warriors, but in Fatal Frame 5, the Maiden of Blackwater, you know, they do the Mario costume thing like Fatal Frame 4 did. Like, your character can wear the red overall. Like, okay. But one of the characters has a Zelda skin, but I couldn't place her dress. I was like, what era of Zelda was this? Twilight Princess? But no, apparently that was the Warriors version, which makes sense because Koei Tecmo, but it just didn't occur to me at the time.
Well, I also like that with this new one, The Age of Calamity, you're going to finally get to play as the champions. So that's really cool. You get to play as your friends that you're trying to get the powers of in Breath of the Wild.
And actually, you know what I also really like? Because this is unlike a lot of Warriors games, because usually the Warriors are based on pre-established franchises, and that's actually true of Zelda as well. But it's going to be stuff like Fist of the North Star, One Piece, Gundam, Fire Emblem, and with a few exceptions, usually it's retreading things you know, because wouldn't it be cool if I could play this part of the series? And One Piece did that 3 times. Only the second game was a completely original story. But in the Hyrule Warriors games, it's new. Like, I don't know where we're going with this. I'm not playing Ocarina of Time except with hordes of enemies. Like, it's a new thing that I don't know where it's going. So they'll be able to have like take some liberties with like the cutscenes and everything. Like, I can't just go, yeah, it's a video game version of that thing I know. Like, this will be interesting. It's completely new. Yeah,
so you'll be able to play as Daruk, the Goron, Mipha, the Zora, Rivali, the Rito, and Urbosa, the Gerudo. All of which have their own followings, especially Mipha and Urbosa. Urbosa is like a really popular character.
When are they going to put Zelda 2 content into Warriors so you can play as Darunia the town and Rudo the town?
I want to play as Bagu and
yeah, Bagu and Error.
Error. Yeah.
I want to play as Saria the town. Remember that? Bring that back. I want to play as Rauru the town.
You could play as the girl from Link's Awakening in the upgraded version of the first one. So that's
pretty cool. And you can play as Shadow Link from well, I guess technically he's from Zelda 2, but it's kind of Ocarina of Time.
Ocarina's,
yeah.
But I just thought this was really neat because the champions are beloved characters at this point, and they're going to re-release the amiibos of those characters, which I never got a chance to get.
You could have a field day with Hyrule Warriors amiibos.
Yeah, so I'm really excited for this game in particular, and it'll have a good story that does not end well at all.
Yeah, like it was just gonna be like Halo Reach, where as you play, like the screen gets more and more fucked up until you just like disappear.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm excited for this because anytime they go into darker territory, it usually ends up really well.
Majora's Mask, well, so. Although it had something of a shaky launch because people didn't like and understand the mechanics.
Yeah, it was ahead of its time. I didn't like it.
Well, it was also
either.
Because they were making it in haste because they had no choice. But in retrospect, people like it more. But yeah, Breath of the Wild is delightfully fucked up. All the Zelda games, in one way or another, at least have aspects of being fucked up.
Ocarina of Time I would say. Link of the Past, I guess. Link of the Past.
Link of the Past kind of does. Ocarina of Time.
Turning into an Eldritch Bunny.
Yeah. No, I was always spooked by the redeads in Ocarina of Time because you hear that shriek in the game, like phrases, but it never really bothered me to play it, but conceptually, remember Dead Hand?
Oh, yeah.
That thing, did you ever let him actually get up close and bite you? Because his mouth opens like a fucking snake. His mouth opens way too wide. It's one of those and you're mash the button. It's so creepy.
Well, we got plenty of other news that we need to catch up on, but that was a good surprise for sure. And they also confirmed that they're still working on Breath of the Wild's sequel, but that's still pretty.
I'm okay with this.
Yeah. Getting another game on top of it is not a bad thing for sure.
Yeah, sign me up.
Also, Grasshopper and Suda51 announced that No More Heroes 3 is delayed until next year. I mean,
that's
completely
not a surprise.
Understandable. I'm not worried about it.
COVID's delaying everything. Yeah, whatever.
I'm not upset, and furthermore, I'm glad when games like this get one or two delays, I'm happy because that means they're trying to make it good.
Yeah, I see a big announcement, and I'm like, oh no, was it canceled? We're sorry, everybody, it's being delayed. Oh, okay, fine.
Yeah, they're just making it better. So I'm
or they're just making it, but either way, it's not canceled, so I don't care. We're good.
Yeah, exactly. Moving on from that, we reported this on this a while ago that Natsume, after making two bangers, they made the remake of Wild Guns and the remake of Ninja Warriors, which were both freaking fantastic.
They renamed it, unfortunately, but Ninja Saviors now.
Yeah, but
you
know what I mean.
They added two characters to both games. That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean they're just better versions of their old games, So,
and you know what I also like, by the way, is those characters, especially in Ninja Saviors, are radically different.
Mm-hmm. Completely.
Raiden, the big guy, actually requires different controls to turn around. He's
awesome.
A monster.
I had guessed that they were probably going to make a Kiki Kai game or a Pocky and Rocky game next, because the same team said that they were going to make a third game. And I know that team had also worked on the Pocky and Rocky games for the Super Nintendo. But the question was whether it was going to be a remake in the same style as the Wild Guns and Ninja Saviors. And it turns out they're making a brand new sequel, which is really cool. I will take a brand new game in the Pocky and Rocky franchise, so they're a lot of fun.
I gotta catch up with the deep lore. Yeah, those games, despite being shooters, which aren't really my thing, I don't know, those just look really cool to me. Those are ones that I would play.
Yeah, the Super Nintendo entries are the ones to play. It started off as an arcade game, and it's very difficult. And it's but once it gets to Super Nintendo, they really hit their footing. So definitely, if you want to start playing those games, play both of those. There's also a third game for the GBA, which is pretty good, but the other two are better. But yeah, this is really cool. They released screenshots of it, and it looks gorgeous. It looks great, which
very
I wouldn't.
Nice, very nice.
I would expect from this team at Natsume. They're just doing a fantastic job. It also means that they are doing this in conjunction with permission from Square Enix, because they own the Pocky and Rocky property. So because it was a Taito game, so it's still pretty cool. Also, the Panzer Dragoon remake that came out for Switch, they announced that it's coming out for PS4 and PC. Not a big surprise, but a welcome one. Hopefully it'll run even better.
That, especially because I get the feeling that it'll run better, because I heard there were some hiccups with the Switch version.
It got ironed out. So for the most part, it's a good release now. Yeah.
Okay.
With patches, but
because I had pre-ordered like the limited run game Switch version, but now
still waiting on
PS4. I'm like
Yeah, I'm still waiting on it. But it's okay because we're post patch now, so that's fine. Also, Arcade Archives released a new game, Tecmo's Gemini Wing, an obscure 2D shmup from them. So I thought that Tecmo's arcade output doesn't get a whole lot of love, so I just wanted to mention that real quick. Also, Disgaea 4 Plus is finally on Steam. It took a long time for this. They have sporadic entries on Steam for a while in the Disgaea series, and I think they have almost all of them now. So
it's weird how long it's taken, because back when these games first came out, they were just pumping them out on PS2 and then PS3.
Yeah. Still, I think Disgaea D2 is still locked to the PS3.
I think it might be, yeah. And by the way, I don't know about the D2 version, but like the thing with the Disgaea games is that they tend to, I don't know about 4 and 5 or what, but they tend to offer bad endings if you like cannibalize your own enemies or your own characters, because one of the more efficient ways to level up is just kill your own character, because like they're super high level already and they can't fight back if you tell them not to. So it's a great way to level up. But
that's actually a mechanic borrowed from Final Fantasy II.
Yeah, and if you do that, like I think like 100 times or whatever, you get the bad ending. And Disgaea 2's bad ending, it's just like a single screenshot over the credits, which is kind of lame. But then once the credits are over, you get text boxes of characters you can't see, like over a black screen. You know who they are because it has their names and their voices and everything. But I won't tell you what happens, but I'll say look it up. It's pretty amazing.
So Disgaea 3 is still not on computer in any form.
Yeah, that was PS3 only as well, I think, right?
Yeah, I think
I remember
that's an early PS3 game, I think, too.
Yeah, I remember hearing like the Japanese version. I think you could language select it.
Oh, there's a Vita version as well.
Oh, is there? I remember like your old wizened butler, at least in the Japanese version, was voiced by the guy who does Gecko Moria on One Piece, and it was so weird to hear him not being over the top. I was like, oh, it's this guy.
All right, moving on from that. So I quickly wanted to mention that there are a couple games that were delisted on PS4 recently of note. Touhou Azure Reflections and Cyveriar Delta. These are both shmups that were delisted on PS4, and some of them were on Switch as well. Both of them are still available on Steam, however, so I would purchase those if you are interested in any way. This Touhou game is one of the fan games. It is not one of the official Touhou games, but of which there are many, so it's hard to tell which ones are official and which ones are fan. But this one's supposed to be a pretty decent one, and it's a side-scrolling one for once, because most of the official ones are vertically scrolling. So, but Cyveriar Delta is a really good game, and that's a big shame that it's not on PS4 anymore. Once again, it's still on Steam, so definitely pick it up, because it's a really good version of that game. It's a shame. I think they're both of them are having publisher issues, because I think they have different publishers on different platforms. So Cyveriar might, I have the feeling, might get picked up by City Connection again, because they did not publish it on PS4, but they've published it elsewhere. And City Connection has been putting out some good stuff lately. So a lot of the old Jalico stuff is coming from City Connection. So
yeah, but not the most important Jalico game.
Sure not. But also in the same breath, Rodea the Sky Soldier will be delisted. We're getting a heads up from NIS that it will be delisted from the Wii U and 3DS on September 29th. This is a game that is kind of a spiritual successor to Nights into Dreams. It's a very kind of odd game, but it's a lot of fun if you play the Wii version that came with the Wii U version. The digital version does not come with the Wii version, so don't go ahead and try to track it down. If you want to play that Wii version, you have to buy the physical version of the Wii U release, because it comes with that.
This seems to me like... I highly doubt this would happen. This is not a very sought-after game, but remember how when they finally released the remasters of Yakuza 3, 4, and 5, they tossed in like a PS3 case for like as a little wink to the Yakuza 3? Like, I'm waiting for some like Switch version of Rodea to come out with, even though the boxes aren't even close to the same size, just like a Wii-looking cover.
I doubt it, but I do think that this game will be worth something someday, just because of its lineage. I mean, it was made by Yuji Naka, the creator of Sonic the Hedgehog. And it is a fun game, even though it's very quirky. It was released in small amounts, and the digital version doesn't have the best version. So, I mean, I think the physical version of this will be worth something someday, kind of like Ivy the Kiwi became worth something because it's a new Yuji Naka game.
I didn't realize that was Yuji Naka. Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah. But I expect it to be worth something someday. So, but if you still want to get the Wii U version, go for it. Before it disappears. 3DS version, just don't bother. And moving on from that, GameStop announced that they are closing more stores than they had previously announced next year. 400 to 450 stores. That's a gigantic amount of retail space that is being closed. Probably throughout almost all in New Jersey. GameStops are very prevalent in New Jersey.
They really are. Like, there used to be like 3. I mean, there's still there used to be like 4 within easy travel distance of me. Like 5 if you count like 20 minutes. Sure. And now there's 2. It's disappointing.
Well, I mean, that's what happened. Like, the main reason for that is that, it was from acquisitions, right? So, like, you have malls that... Some malls had, like, up to 3 GameStops at one point because, they kept gobbling up their competition, with EB Games and software,
Yeah, well, yeah, my mall used to have a GameStop, an EB Games, and... like this is a very specific thing. There were only 3 stores, but like a Game Trader. Yeah. So it's like it's one step away from like a Starbucks being next to a Starbucks. It was like very, very close.
And as much as I hate the way that this company is run, I am very sad to hear this because
I feel bad for everyone in it except the guy running it.
I feel bad for people that are going to be losing their jobs, and I also still am sad that a specific nationwide retailer of physical video games is having trouble. Because sooner or later we'll only be able to get these things from big box stores like Best Buy, Walmart, and Target, just like with toys. And your online retailers. I like being able to go to a store and buy stuff, if I need to. It's certainly a big shame, and especially considering that I still have friends that work for GameStop. I know people that work for GameStop. I mean, they're not a good company to their employees, but these people depend on them for their livelihood.
And a lot of the employees are cool too.
Yeah, and you know what they do? A lot of times they work that job because it's the thing that fits them more than anything because of it's their hobby. So, they're going to lose that. They're going to lose being able to go to a job where they have a large knowledge base, and can share that with people and help people make purchases based on that. It's a big shame. Moving on from that, Retrobit is releasing repros of Toaplan's Genesis output, including Truxton, that game with the skull.
Yeah, the bombs make the skull shape.
Yeah. Hellfire, Fire Shark, and get this, Zero Wing.
Yeah, that's pretty radical, especially because Zero Wing, that didn't even get like an American release.
It didn't.
Was it a European game?
Yeah, so the one that is in the All Your Base meme comes from the PAL version of Zero Wing. So,
yeah, like PAL got like a janky English translation.
I think only all of these got North American releases, but what they're doing for this release is they're retranslating all 4 of them. They specified specifically that Zero Wing will have the original translation for the intro intact, which is fantastic.
My favorite part is still "How are you, gentlemen?" It just cracks me up. How are you? Oh, fine, thank you.
Kids who don't know what we're talking about, look up All Your Base on
this
on
was
YouTube.
One of the first memes ever.
Yeah,
like it's way old.
Yeah, I saw this freshman year of college, I think, which is ancient history. But also, I think they, in the PAL release, they took all this out, but there are up to 35 different endings to Zero Wing.
What?
That they are reinstalling back into the game.
Wow.
Reconstituting back into the game. So that is really cool news. And they said, the translator said, it was important to me that people get the meme, the meme material, but also get
at least have it as an option. Yeah. Make your time.
I mean, it's like Symphony of the Night. I kind of hate the newer translation of it because it makes sense.
Well, and it's the same thing with Resident Evil 1. Yeah. Like, I mean, a lot of the humor comes from the voice acting itself, but there are still some kind of weird lines in there that come off a
Jill
little
sandwich.
Like, Barry, you're here too. Jill, you're here too. Like, that's not either of those is decently natural, but both together is awkward.
Yeah. Moving on from that, there was another gigantic Nintendo leak that had like an entire complete ROM set of Nintendo's entire library of Game Boy games for all regions. And that also includes an English version of X, which we never got in the United States. So this is Argonaut Software's first title before they made Star Fox. So it was a pretty landmark title on the Game Boy because it was it had polygons, and it's a really crazy looking game for a game like a monochrome Game Boy game. You'd be very. It looks like the predecessor to Star Fox on a Game Boy with no special hardware. It's like amazing the way it runs, and it runs quickly. It's not a slow game, and it's a fun game. But it never came out in the United States, so somebody found a complete English version of this game on there.
That's awesome. It's like Star Fox 2. Like, did you know there's this whole game? That's awesome.
Yeah, complete. They found an announced but never released complete version of a Vanilla Ice game.
He's one of my favorite characters from JoJo Part 3.
He's one of my favorite Teenage Mutant Ninja 2 characters. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle.
Nobody comes up with rap lyrics faster than this guy. He did it on the spot while fights happening, right in front of him.
He just looked at his guys and they knew what to do.
Yeah, they had the choreography down immediately. Stop. It's the Green Machine.
Little did they know that the Super Shredder would just kill himself.
Little did they know that their ninja rap would be referenced in Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance.
Really?
Yeah, it was the most out of nowhere, like, Suda51 thing to do. Like, you show up in the sewers. Go Ninja Go. Yeah, you show up, like, in the sewers, you, like, just dive down there, and you got your giant katana. This little kid is like, whoa! Like, you get this, like, big sword? Like, you're like a ninja! go Ninja, go Ninja, go. I'm like, what the fuck? Like,
it was the weirdest. I never got a chance to play that.
That was bizarre.
And also there was an extremely rare undumped Japanese Game Boy game based off of the anime manga Slam Dunk. It's a basketball franchise that's really popular, or was back in the day. That was released as a promo variant for a contest. There were only 300 known copies at that time, and it's extremely hard for anybody to get a hold of a copy of it, so it's never been dumped.
So you're saying the game Slam Dunk already existed, but this was a promo version?
Yeah, so it had something special about it, it had an endorsement of a specific product in it or something like that.
Yeah, or the contest versions of, I forgot what they were called, of those Mario games where you only have 5 minutes to see as far as you can get or whatever.
Oh, you mean the Caravan games? Yeah. No. Or the Carnival games, they're sometimes called Caravan or Carnival.
I don't remember, but they were at official Nintendo events, like the tournament edition thing.
Oh, are you talking about the Nintendo World
yes,
Championship cards? Yeah,
yes.
Yeah. So there's also those as well, but this is more along the lines of they made a version of Gradius where the power up nodules turn into bowls of ramen for a ramen company.
Sure,
it's that kind of thing. It probably has some kind of endorsement of a company like that or something like that.
They had a Tony Hawk Pro Skater game where you could play as Shrek.
Hey now, here in Hallstein. But anyway, I just thought that was cool, and that's just some highlights. There's plenty of other stuff that people are dumping out of there. Once again, I as cool as this is, it just doesn't sit with me right, because it's massive theft. This is a huge breach of trust with Nintendo and their fans. It's cool, but also it's kind of slimy how it's going down. I'm not a big fan of it, but it's cool that this is coming out.
Cool as ice, you might say. Not to be confused with the movie of the same name.
But in the same breath, somebody released a translation of X, the same game, so around the same time. Very coincidental. Oh. And there was also a fan translation of the Goemon game for the PlayStation 1. Gunbari Goemon Uchu Kaizoku Akoginjo.
Well, I don't know 2/3 of that, but Kaizoku is pirate.
Oh, okay. So I think this is the first PS1 game from that era. I think there are 3 Gunbari Goemon games for PS1. Man, they are pumping those Goemon games out.
No kidding, yeah.
This was a different group though, but it was just coincidental that this one came out after all the Super Nintendo ones. That's really awesome though. Moving on from that, Eric Andre released the date of season 5 of Eric Andre show. It's going to be October 25th. I cannot wait.
Nuts.
I fucking love the Eric Andre show. He's an insane person, but it's great. I think Hannibal's the best part of the show. Hannibal Buress
because he's the ultimate straight man. That's still one of my favorite moments in the entire show, which was, I think, in season 1, where Eric Andre's sulking, and then just in a fit of rage, he just swipes everything off his desk and onto the floor, and Hannibal just doesn't change expression. He's like, whatever, man, it's your desk. It freaking killed me.
It's where do you get this shit? It's so good. It is a great show, and it's also a show on Adult Swim that comes back whenever it feels like. I think this show's 10 years old at this point.
Did you ever see when he tried interviewing a bear?
No, an actual bear.
A real bear. Yeah, the bear's kind of approaching his desk, and Eric Andre's like, I am liking this bit less and less. It's amazing.
Did you see the one where he kicked Flavor Flav? And Flavor
Flav, I think that was edited, but he cracked him in the face. Yeah,
literally punched him in the face. It wasn't even a joke.
It's freaking wild. I don't know how people still
go on that
sign
show.
Up on the show unless they're aware of what's going to happen. Because season 1, nobody could have had a clue. No way. But
Dolph
now
Lundgren took it well. He was on the first episode and he played along with it. But
who?
Dolph Lundgren.
Oh, Dolph Lundgren, man, he rolled with that like nobody's business.
It was the first episode. And he was down with it. He was all about
that probably threw Eric Andre off. It's like I thought he'd be weirded out, and he just wasn't.
He was having a fun time.
And the funny thing is, that's still one of the tamer interviews because it didn't have like snakes coming out of the coffee mug or like a dude burst into the floor. It was just weird, awkward interview questions, and Dolph Lundgren just rolled with every single one. It was amazing.
Like one of the questions was like, you're descendant of Vikings, right?
About him of Viking descent.
Yeah, and he's just like, so you're full of rape blood, huh? And
you have rapist blood. He's like, yep, I have it.
I have it.
Like, what? Really? Zero fucks.
Just went right along with it, not skipping a beat.
He didn't even flinch. Like, how do you do that?
He was trying to throw him off, and he just couldn't do it.
Like, who's the better Eric Andre?
It was, like, excellent.
Yeah.
But there were some episodes where like just crazy stuff happens and the person just like noped off stage. Especially like he would have a reality TV show people on and they just wouldn't know where the fuck they were.
Even for reality TV, this is way too weird.
Yeah, exactly. Also, I have to talk about this because Gorillaz put out a new song this week, past week. Called Strange Times, featuring Robert Smith from The Cure. And it was quite possibly the best song so far on
It's up Machine. There, yeah.
In fact, it might be one of my favorite Gorillaz songs ever. It's really good.
This is a tough one for me because I want to say that I still prefer Pac-Man, but then again, I've listened to it way more times. So like, I think I need to like
this one's really good.
Let everything settle in. Yeah.
The music video is really cool too.
The music video is wild.
Yeah, it has a lot of 2001: Space Odyssey references, lots of them. But yeah,
I mean, I got one extremely obvious one, like the monolith. What were some others?
They definitely do the warp at one point.
Okay.
Yeah, the
oh yeah, duh. Yeah. Well, yeah, with Murdoch going into the thing.
Yeah. No.
Okay. I forgot about that. Yeah.
There's other stuff in the background and like there's the way their spacesuits look and stuff like
that.
The
Gorillaz version of the warp was better because it wasn't fucking 7 hours long.
It's just faces going. But yeah. It's a great song, and man, that bass line just like kills it. It's a really, really good song. But they also revealed that they're putting up a pre-order for the album for all of the songs, and they also like announced that like every one of the songs so far has been featuring somebody, which is really, really neat.
That's true. Yeah, usually.
They have
they'll have like one special guest for an album, and they'll pop in like to like 2 songs or something. Like,
like
they're
Snoop
back,
Dogg.
But
Snoop Dogg.
This is a cameo every time.
Yeah, no, like they're like a major part of the song in like every
they're not like Jack Black like in the video, but you wouldn't otherwise know he was there.
Yeah, no, like apparently they revealed a couple more listings for songs that hadn't been announced yet. The next song is going to feature Beck, which is a huge surprise and really awesome.
Whoa, the whole anime Beck? It's amazing.
No, I mean, the 2 turntables and a microphone guy.
Not the asshole from the Big O? I think that was his name.
I don't know.
Not Mysterio.
Not the main character from Mighty Number 9. But
oh yeah.
But yeah, and apparently Elton John's official Twitter account threw him threw Gorillaz a bunch of rocket emojis after this as well.
I could see him showing up. He's showing up in weird stuff.
There might be an Elton John collaboration, which is a huge deal.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, they're both Brits, and like Gorillaz are extremely relevant constantly for some reason. So like Damon Albarn just knows what he's doing. He just makes good music with good people. I think the reason why the Gorillaz is such a success is it's basically just him making music, and then Jamie's doing the art, but like he gets to do whatever he wants and doesn't have a band to contend with.
He like a label.
Yeah, he doesn't have like a band like that he has to appease. He could just be like, I want to work with this guy. That I heard.
Remember The Fall? Like, I know it's his least popular album, but I think he did that like the whole thing like on a tablet.
Yeah, he did
by himself. It's fucking nuts.
Oof. Fall's rough.
Revolving Doors, though.
Revolving Doors is legitimately a great song, but that.
Yeah. Otherwise, okay.
Honky Tonk Man.
Didn't that come like right after Demon Days too?
It happened after Plastic Beach.
Oh, excuse me. Okay.
Yeah. It happened right after Plastic Beach, and it was.
And Plastic Beach was like nothing but bangers.
Yeah, but
I was a little weirded out by Superfast Jellyfish though, and Sweepstakes. I'll admit that. But.
Sweepstakes gets better and better the more you play it.
Yeah.
Sweepstakes is a great song. It's just weird and off.
It's very different from the tone of the rest of the album.
Well, Demon Days is a straight up awesome pop album, like pop rock album. It's just good all the way through with lots of really awesome stuff. And then, like, Plastic Beach is a return to form. It's very similar to the first album. It's offbeat, really good, but has some experimental stuff in there. And it's not as poppy as Demon Days, so people who hopped on with Demon Days probably got weirded out by Plastic Beach. And,
I freaking love Plastic Beach, though.
It's really good. Empire Ants, man. Wow.
Yes.
Yeah. Like,
yes.
It's
like Suzumi Hirasawa's like Island's Door, Paranesian Circle. Like, the song's pretty good, but when it hits that ending part, you're like, oh, what? Yeah. Like, it's amazing.
Melancholy Hill is one of their best songs.
Very good. Very good.
It has some really, really good songs on it.
Broken as well. It's more melancholy, but very good.
It's just so good. But anyway, we could gush all day long about one of our favorite bands. It's certainly my favorite.
What was the Rhinestone Eyes as well?
The whole album. It's all good.
I actually quite like the song called Plastic Beach.
It's all good. It's all good. Yep. Let's just name every track.
Let's name that intro that just features Snoop Dogg dancing for like 30 seconds before he actually says anything.
That's a good song too. That intro is fun to listen to on its own. Yeah. But anyway, just two quick things before we run out of time here. Some nice happy birthday stuff. Happy birthday to the Dreamcast. That happened on 9/9/99, so that happened last week. And also a happy 27th birthday to Gunstar Heroes, my favorite video game of all time. So I just wanted to quickly mention that. The Japanese release of it happened 27 years ago last week. So I'm very happy to say anything about that game because it's so good. If you haven't played it, go back and do it. It's amazing. That's about it for me. How about you, Lotus?
Nah, I think I'm good. The only like little weird things I wanted to add were like I think mainly just the Venture Brothers and Crysis Remastered. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that is the show for this week. Please remember to subscribe to the Corrective Consciousness YouTube and SoundCloud pages. While there, please give us thumbs ups, likes, and 5-star ratings on iTunes. Helps keep your 3-star ratings to yourselves, misters. It helps us promote and spread awareness of the show, and any bit of encouragement helps keep the show going. You can also catch us on Thursday for our sister podcast, Corrective Consciousness, the podcast where we explore the inanity of pop culture. We will continue our journey for exploring the Castlevania series. It's part 7 this time, Lotus. Finally, you can friend me as vysethebold on Steam, PSN, Xbox Live, Twitter, and whatever else you got.
And you could follow me on my YouTube channel, Lotus Prince. You can hit me up on Twitter at Lotus Prince. And finally, if you are interested in seeing my videos early, getting in on exclusive live streams, selecting upcoming games for me to Let's Play, and we got one of those coming up in the relative near future. We're going back to horror style. Or if you're interested in getting in conversations with me and other patrons on Discord, then perhaps consider swinging by my Patreon account, which can be found at patreon.com/LotusPrince.
All right, everybody. We'll catch everybody very soon. We'll catch you on Thursday. See you then.
Until next time, everyone.
Bye-bye.